Hello, this is Thomas K4SWL, and today I am out here doing another park activation. I'm at the North Carolina Transportation Museum. They're actually closed today. It's their day off, and I'd been here one time before, just kind of scoping it out. I've been to the museum before to visit with the family. It's a wonderful, wonderful museum, and just a real treasure of one if you ever get a chance to pop by here in Spencer, North Carolina. But anyway, I'm in their sort of auxiliary parking lot, which is open to the public at all times. It's not behind a gate or anything, so even though they're closed today, it's okay. I have out here, out at my car, just set up behind my car with the ICOM IC-705. I'm using the Chameleon MPAS Lite vertical antenna, mainly because I'm doing quick deployments. This is actually my second activation for the day. I had not planned to come to the Transportation Museum, but my first activation was Perkins Game Land here in North Carolina, and the spot I picked out, it was very crowded. I guess everybody's out hunting today or something, and there's just a little parking area there. I was able to pull in, set up this antenna right next to the car and operate inside the car, but people were looking for parking spots and stuff. So as soon as I worked, I think 13 stations, and I didn't hear anybody calling me again, I didn't try calling, I just hopped off the air and moved on. But that meant that I had a little extra time, so I decided to come out here to the North Carolina Transportation Museum en route to another park, which is going to be, I think it's called Second Creek Game Land. So I'm going to try to do 3 today in a pretty short period of time. Now, I've decided what I'll try to do. I don't know if it'll work out or not. I'll try to do, normally I start with CW. I have internet access here, so I've decided maybe to just start this time with single sideband and spot myself with my tablet that I have here. Spot myself on the POTA network, and that should help things move along. If you didn't notice, actually I'll show you again. I tell people to do this, and it's kind of funny because it's rare I even have an issue, but this is a perfect example. Anytime you put up an antenna, you know, especially at home, where you have power lines coming into your house and stuff, you should pay attention, but also in the field. And this is, of course, is a more urban setting. But first thing I did was I scoped out where I am, and there are just lots of lines around here, tons. I mean, it's near sort of a transportation spot, so there are a lot of lines. So I made sure that, number one, my antenna was not tall enough to fall on any lines, and then if it did fall, there's no way it would fall on anything around here, whether it's a cable or a power line or whatever. So anytime you're doing a park activation, always check. I also went to Game Land once and was out in the middle of nowhere, but had to deal with power lines. So you'd never want to throw your antenna up or put your antenna up in a place where you'd have power line issues. So I'll get started here. As with previous videos, you'll know that I use voice memory key quite a lot, and that's what I'm going to do here today, is a little voice memory keying. And I've got my CQ set up here in T1. I'll go ahead and press and hold that. And by the way, you're probably noticing that you're hearing some noise here. I'm pretty sure I'm getting just urban power line noise. I won't really know how bad it is until I start calling CQ. I'm operating 10 watts into a vertical. It's not going to be a wonderful signal. We'll see if anybody answers, or we'll see if I can, you know, hear anyone, frankly, because it's pretty noisy. This is a noisy, I got about S3, S4 noise going on. We'll give it a go anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and start calling CQ. So you can see there on the waterfall display that it is actually calling CQ right now, though you can't hear it. And here on the side, I'm going to add a spot for myself. Let's see here. I'll get this going. Let's see, and the frequency is 7188, which is a pretty well-known park frequency. Okay, so I've made my spot now. Hopefully somebody will come back to me. I may not actually need to note much down here, because frankly, with voice, I find it a little easier just to directly log to my tablet. Anyway, now the world knows I'm here. Let's move that back down to be right on frequency. I've got my log set up, I know my park number, and I am ready to go. Since I'm trying to fit in a lot of activations at once in one day, I'm not going to worry too much about how many contacts I make beyond 10. I'll try to... Okay, the park-to-park station, go ahead. The park-to-park station, go ahead.
Came back to you, Kerry. Roger, roger. You are 5555 at the kilo 0700.
Roger, roger on the 5x5. Roger, roger. And here we are. You're coming in about 5x7. I have very heavy QRM here. But I've got you about 5x7 here at park number 6847, 6847. QSL? Seven threes. Have a good one, Carrie. Thanks for working me today. And QRZ, this is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima, Parks on the Air. CQ POTA, this is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima calling CQ for Parks on the Air.
November 4, Hotel India Delta.
November 4, Hotel India Delta, you've got a great signal. 5x9 here at park number 6847. QSL?
QSL, you're 5-9 plus Kentucky. Good luck, thanks.
Thank you very much for that 5x9 plus. Take care, and 7 threes. QRZ, this is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima for Parks on the Air. Okay, I heard a Kilo 4, a kilowatt 4 station. Go ahead. The Kilo 4 station, go ahead. Okay, the park-to-park station, go ahead. Sorry, you're way down in the noise. I've got a very high noise level here. Go ahead, Kilo 4 station, park-to-park. Give me your full call, please. The park-to-park station, go ahead. This is what happens when you have high noise. Okay, I'll have to wait on him just a little bit. QRZ, this is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima. Oh, this noise is brutal. I don't even think that this S meter is actually... It seems like the noise is almost higher than that. CQ POTA, this is Kilo 4, Sierra Whiskey Lima calling CQ for Parks on the Air. CQ POTA, this is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima calling CQ for Parks on the Air. Yeah, so when noise levels are high in single sideband especially, I think it affects single sideband slightly more. Because you're at a higher bandwidth, you've got a little more bandwidth. CW, notice it a little less. When we move to CW here in a bit, you'll probably hear that it's not quite as profound. And it's a little easier to hear signals. I can see signals out there, but I can tell that those are a little bit stronger. N4HDID was very strong, but he's always an extremely... Okay, the Kilo Oscar 4 station, go ahead. Roger, roger. Kilo Oscar 4, Foxtrot, Foxtrot. You're about a 5x5 here at park number 6847 in North Carolina. QSL? Oh, roger. Kilo Oscar 4, Fox Kilo. Kilo Oscar 4, Foxtrot, Foxtrot Kilo. I've got you in the logs, my friend. 7 threes, buddy.
7-3, thank you for the
QRZ, this is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima for Parks on the Air. I hope I'm not blowing you out here by talking so loudly. I usually keep my microphone set to work well when I'm speaking at a little higher volume because I find sometimes I'm in noisy areas and stuff with wind, and that's sort of how I keep my mic gain. But I hope I'm not knocking you out here with the video talking so loudly. We'll give us a little bit longer here on 40 meter single sideband. I much prefer being out in, the woods or the forest when I'm doing park activations for a number of reasons. But it's also nice to be able to park and you're here in a good spot. And again, the North Carolina Transportation Museum here in Spencer is just wonderful. If you like trains and cars and just anything dealing with transportation, you'll love this place. I can't wait for the pandemic to sort of go away so I can bring my family back here and look around. They even have a presidential train car. I mean, they have just amazing stuff here at this museum. Some gorgeous cars too. It's possible in a situation like this, with Parks on the Air, you always want to be really cautious not to represent amateur radios poorly. So when I come here, I set up right behind my car. I don't take up more than one parking space, even though there's no one else here right now, period. And there won't be the rest of the day. There will be no one here. I still don't take up, I make sure I don't take up a lot of space. I try to be at the edge of the parking lot, make sure the antenna is not interfering with anything, and try to be as low impact as I possibly can. And this is one of the great things about having a vertical antenna in your arsenal is I can set this up so quickly and I can operate very easily, just right here in a parking lot like this. Now what we're going to do, we're going to move on over to CW now, just to speed this up a bit, hopefully. We'll see if that does it. Well, let me go ahead and announce that I'm going to hop off here just in case someone's listening and a little shy to contact me. This is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima. I'm going to QSY to the CW portion of the 40 meter band. This is Kilo 4, Sugar Whiskey Lima. I'm going to QSY. I noticed the noise level went down a little tiny bit. Okay, let's go ahead and move to, you know what, I keep thinking about this the wrong way. Let's see. Let's move up to, change this to CW, and then oddly you actually have to change your, I still have the voice keying up here. I'll move this to the regular keyer, and it has all my keyer slots for the memories. Now because I'm using the MAT-705 Plus antenna tuner, this is not the original MAT-705, which I wasn't terribly pleased with. This is the Plus. It seems like it's doing a lot better job in terms of just battery performance and that sort of thing. If I tap this, it's going to tune up now, so I can't send QRL, but I don't hear anyone here. That was a really quick, very, very fast. So I'll go ahead and send my CQ POTA. And then I'll go back into my logs and make sure that I've told it that I'm on CW. This is the one thing, when you're operating multiple modes and you're using logging software, even if you're writing it down, you have to make sure that you at least get your mode correct on this. With Parks on the Air, you don't have to keep a lot of details, like, even though you take down the state and that sort of thing when people give it in the exchange, that's not actually important when you send in the logs, really. In the logs, they want your call sign, the time, the date, the band, the mode, and then signal report. I'll have to see if it's auto spotting me. I'm actually in a spot where I can check that now, since I have a little internet access. Yeah, it auto spotted me. So if you look here, you can see my spot. that the reverse beacon network, you'll know it's a reverse beacon network spot. It says RBN 7 dB, 16 words a minute, and it tells you the station that picks you up. I better be ready to copy people if they come back. Move this out of the way. But you can hear it. There's not as much noise down here. It could be that the noise that we were hearing was really just more present, a little higher in the 40-meter band. But with a narrower bandwidth, you just don't hear it anyway. Frankly, it's just less pronounced. You may have noticed I wrote down what I thought was the suffix of another call sign. That helps me later on when they come back. I'll be able to confirm if I got that correct. Something is a little funny about his tone. I meant to write him and tell him. I would recognize Mike's call K8RAT just from his swing of his cootie. He has a side swiper or a cootie, single lever. Well, he faded out there, but I think I heard him. So, but I recognize his swing, and it's kind of funny with Parks on the Air. I've said this before. It's like kind of like a big family. you recognize at least 50% of the people you work. He repeats twice, and that's usually what people do. It's the best thing to do. Now, I sent him thank you again because he worked me at the last park. And I remembered his call from that. I've got 8 contacts so far. All right. It's funny, people are driving by and they're kind of slowing down when they see me out here trying to figure out what I'm doing. Because there is a road right here in front of me. I have 10 contacts now. Someone's tuning up on me. So this is a park to park. So when you have a park-to-park in CW, they'll usually send you the park number where they are and the state. That's the reason why I had a little bit of an extra exchange there when I was doing it. I'll go ahead and call CQ one more time here on 40 meters. We may move up to 20 meters or something just for fun of it. Doing okay with time. It's about 1:30 right now local, and I need to move on here in maybe 10-15 minutes. Oh, the noise came back. Did you see that? Now it went away. You can see how quickly that happened. Okay, let's go ahead and move up to 20 meters. How about that? Listen around here a little bit. I don't hear anyone here. That's a very, very quick tune-up time. Okay, let's go for this again here. Let's try... Wait, what am I doing? When I'm running videos, I forget half the things I'm doing. Let's make sure that there's no one on frequency, but I didn't hear anybody. Now we'll hope that the RBN spots us and the POTA network will spot us as well. I'll go ahead and get my log set up for 20 meters now. Now, one of the things if you're new to CW, and I hope one of the wonderful things I've been getting feedback on these videos, and the reason why I keep doing it is people have been telling me that this has encouraged them to get out, because frankly, I'm not like a professional amateur radio operator. There's much of a thing really, except for maybe professional YouTubers and stuff, but I'm just a guy that likes to go out and do park activations. And I've done SSB or single sideband, my entire ham radio career going back to like 1997. I learned CW in order to get my novice class license, had to know 5 words a minute, but then didn't use it for many years, nearly a decade. And then I learned CW again, and with the help of my friend Mike KRAT, who I worked a little bit earlier, I got my speed up to maybe 17 words a minute, and then for years I didn't use it until this year when I started using it to do park activations. And it's actually become my favorite mode for doing park activations. And one of the reasons why is it's just so much quieter. It's easier for me to hear contacts with these park activations like this in CW. The narrower bandwidth and everything, it's just easier to hear a signal when you're out in the field, and I like that. There's a lot less competition for frequencies as there are on the single sideband, frequencies, because CW is just so incredibly narrow that you can fit a lot of signals in a small space. I find too that CW operators in general are, and this is kind of a broad sweeping statement here, but are in general kind of a little bit more polite than some SSB operators. That's a big general statement, not always true, but there are just sort of common courtesies in CW, and a lot less lids and people who act up on the bands. But if I can do CW, anybody can do CW. I just really started doing this in June, which was 6 months ago, or July really is when I did my first CW activation. And it's funny how quickly this has become my favorite mode for park activations. CW as well is just sort of more effective with you get more kind of miles per watt. When I'm operating 10 watts, which I am right now on the 705, because I've got an external battery hooked up to it. I've got a little 3 amp hour Bio-Eno battery. With that hooked up, I can pump out 10 watts. And with CW, 10 watts is pretty impressive, even with a compromised antenna. Single sideband, it's a little harder to hear with 10 watts. But as you can see, I worked, a number of stations I worked at least 3 stations with single sideband. I probably could have worked more, but I bet I couldn't hear them calling me due to the noise levels. I think that was W2. So he's in New Hampshire. Had a great signal. Some of the little things you hear in CW, if you're not familiar with it, let me see. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I'm not a multitasker. I can't do CW at the same time I'm talking, but when you hear people send signal reports, I tend to, when I'm doing park activations, I don't do complicated signal reports. It usually is going to be somewhere between 559 or 559 and 599. I'll do something in between there. Just listening, make sure nobody's coming back. When you give a 599 report, you'll hear some people come back, and if they give me a 599, they may send 5, the number 5, the number 9, then an N. The letter N as in November. If you're sending a 599 report, and I do this all the time, I never send the number 9 because that's dit, you know, as opposed to it if you send an N. And so when you send 5NN, so if you send a 5NN, that means 599, and most people do that. So you'll hear that sometimes. You'll hear 599, 5NN. But sometimes people like to send both, like a 5.9N and then a 5NN. And that's just operator preference, you know, whatever they want to do. I do it sometimes when I'm at home because I figure the person in the field may be having a difficult time hearing me. So I always try to give them to them a couple different ways. Okay, I think that's... That again is somebody that I recognize the swing, and when I heard LDT, of course I knew who he was, but I've worked him so many times. And he's up in Ontario, and I've worked him numerous times in the field, and I recognize the swing of his key there. I'll call CQ a little bit longer. I've got 13 contacts now, so I'm well over what I need, and I need to pack up here before too long. But VE3LDT, because I recognize his swing, I didn't really need to hear a lot more of his calls. That's a cool call sign. Missouri. Let me make sure I got his call sign correctly there. This is very kind of him. So actually, I accidentally wrote an extra 0 there when I heard his call the very first time. And so I just marked that out. It's K0WL, which is a great call sign. You know what? I'm going to call it quits here. Now, how do I decide when to call QRT? When I'm doing a park, I mean, everybody's different. I've told you before in my videos that My park contacts tend to be very short because I'm a busy family guy, especially a day like today when I want to fit in multiple parks for no good reason other than it's just fun to do. I keep it kind of short. The North Carolina Transportation Museum has been activated, quite a number of times, and it's not a very rare park, so I feel no guilt at all on a day like today, leaving it with just, let's see what I've got here, 14 contacts. That's perfectly fine to me and more than adequate. If this were a really rare park, I probably wouldn't fit it in a multiple activation day unless I didn't have a choice. Because I try to give everyone a chance to work me and get me in their logs, because I'm actually not a numbers guy. I don't even know how many parks I have right now, but I can't remember. Actually, I was talking with some friends recently and we looked up the numbers, and I can't remember how many I've done for this year. So I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not a kind of contester guy or anything. I just do this because I love it. But there are quite a number of hunters that really like to, and I don't blame them. It's kind of fun looking on a map or keeping track. He's in Alaska. So I'm not calling again here. I just left that on and he happened to call in. And of course I'm going to try to work an Alaska station. So I just did Alaska with 10 watts and this chameleon, whoops, let me get the camera out here, chameleon MPAS Lite antenna vertical. I mean, that's the great thing about CW. That would have been much, much harder to do in single sideband 10 watts. It would have been tough. He gave me a 449, I think, was his report. And that would have been much less effective probably in single sideband. But anyway, where was I? What I was saying is I do, if this were a really rare park, I would stay out here longer. I would try to work more contacts, and that would be the end of the story. Because I try to get as many people in as they could. A lot of hunters, they're looking for unique parks, and they're looking for a total number of parks. VE3LDT, I hear him on the air a lot, and I think a lot of people here in Eastern North America and actually all over the U.S. hear him. He's probably the number one hunter in POTA right now, I believe, and he's a great operator. And for him, he obviously just wants as many numbers as he can. This is something he enjoys doing. He's very passionate about it and does it. I'm guessing here that NL7V, probably this may be the first time he's gotten this particular park, which is the reason he called me, even though he didn't hear me calling CQ, just on the chance I was listening. And because from Alaska, this would be a kind of a tough park to get very easily. He's been coming out here a lot, though. He's always sounds great too. He must have a wonderful antenna there, I think in Anchorage or North Pole, Alaska. But anyway, if I'm working a really rare station, I try to, just as a courtesy to hunters, I try to spend more time out and try to work more stations on more bands. And sometimes I'll even use a little more power. If I'm operating single sideband, I'll try to bring my Mission RG01 50-watt transceiver out, and I'll put up a larger wire antenna just to give everybody more opportunity. But anyway, I've made this video too long. I'm going to pack up here, move on to, I think it's called Second Creek Game Land. I'll probably shoot a short video there as well. Why not? I didn't shoot one for the very first park because, like I said, that game land was just so compact and tight. I didn't even have hardly a space to put anything. So until then, 7 3s.